of Lagos is only applicable in Lagos. And of course, we need a legal framework that clearly, addresses definitional clarity. I will tell you for free that in Nigeria today, in most of our fine institutions, people don't even know what sexual harassment means. But when you then, make steps or effort to explain what constitutes sexual harassment, you'd see that maybe out of, 200 students, you see about 150 of them share their experiences of sexual harassment. That is to tell you that we need legal framework that actually, clearly stipulates what sexual harassment means, the different patterns of sexual harassment, rules out sanctions for perpetrators, and also stipulate clear redress mechanisms. What are the, non-formal and informal reporting mechanisms that exist, and also a legal framework that also provides for, compensation for survivors. It might also interest you to know that as it is in Nigeria today, people have, survivors have an expanded vision of what justice means. Some people actually see justice as legal justice, but also the scope of justice has expanded beyond conviction. And so for people who experience sexual harassment, they could also actually feel that justice to them means recognition. Some people, it means acknowledgement that this has happened. And for some people, it means empowerment. But I think everyone is on the same page that prevention is, a universally accepted, expectation of what justice should mean. Would rather have sexual harassment not happen at all than it happening and then everyone is running around to explore redress grievance mechanisms.
All right, Momi, in addition to those legal frameworks you've just mentioned, it's not only about the presidential assent here, but what about the custodians for implementing this bill when it becomes law? We're talking about the law enforcement agents, we're talking about the judiciary, and how proactive and how do you keep them on their toes, especially with groups like yours?
So first off, I would say that, yes, it's not just about the presidential bill. It's not just about the legal framework awaiting presidential assent. But I would say that, obtaining presidential assent to that bill is really critical and fundamental to achieving some level of success in other measures that have been deployed till date. So some institutions of higher learning actually have comprehensive policies. But with the lack of legal framework that is statutorily backing the criminalization of sexual harassment, that void actually exists. And when we talk about accountability, of course, accountability has to do with taking complaints seriously and also sanctioning perpetrators and also protecting people who have come forward, against every form of reprisals. So organizations like ours and other organizations are collaborating. And I would say that we understand that sexual harassment is an hydra-headed problem. It's a monster. And it takes, a group of organizations to come together to address the issue. And that's why, again, we're not working in silos. We are all collaborating to ensure that, we achieve some level of progress. And of course, we'll be working with the judiciary and even institutions of higher learning, because institutions also have to allocate resources to implement policies. And policies would definitely flow from the legal framework. So as it stands now, we have over 356 institutions of higher learning in Nigeria. And I can tell you that less than 50 out of those institutions have anti-sexual harassment policy. And for those who even have policies, to what extent are these policies implemented? And so it has to do with interest, it has to do with priority. But when we have this legal framework, every institution of higher learning will be automatically mandated. So imagine that we have to address this issue one institution at a time. It would, require a lot of resources, it will require a lot of time, and that